So, who is the charmer? He is witty, outgoing, charismatic, and definitely the guy that everyone likes. Maybe not romantically, but definitely you will definitely remember his company. Hi everyone, welcome back to Fem Archive.
Hello.
And as promised, we are back again with the second video within our feminine and masculine archetype ongoing series. In this video, we're going to be discussing or exploring the charmer archetype.
So, to give you guys a little bit of a hint of what to expect when we start going to the video talking about the charmer, we gave this little cute little gif right here, which is of Aladdin, which I'm pretty sure you guys probably have grew up watching this movie, and is one of his most infamous quote, "Do you trust me?"
Sure, do you trust me?
What?
Do you trust me?
Which I think gives
enough hint.
Yeah, for you guys to know what the charmer is.
So to begin understanding what kind of person the charmer is and how he naturally moves in his world, we can break this archetype down into two masculine energies that is within this archetype. So we have the warrior masculine energy and the messenger masculine energy. We're going back to using Dr. Jean Shenonda Boland's work, where she wrote Gods in Every Man, and she uses Greek gods and the Greek mythology in order to better understand man and male psychology. We'll begin with messenger energy is best represented by the Greek god Hermes, who is the Greek god of communication and travel. Hermes man, or the messenger man in our system, is known to be somebody that is very easygoing, somebody that is a persuasive and good communicator. He's somebody that has a lot of different life experiences because he travels and around a lot and meet a lot of new people. And one of the most interesting thing about this Greek god is that how he's actually known as one of the favorite sons of Zeus. And we can sort of understand this in a way as like the messenger traits are usually traits that society sort of see as likable. Yeah, society sees likable, and they usually encourage men to be more like to have more of these traits. Yeah, because it's following Zeus sort of way of being, which is the father god. And so the Hermes man is somebody that is usually much more mind-led, meaning that he will not see this person react emotionally. Out of emotional impulsiveness. He's usually just much more rational-headed. One of my favorite myths to understand this Greek god is how when he was just a baby, he actually creeped out in the middle of the night to steal his brother's Apollo's cattle without anyone knowing, and took the cattle for a joyride, and then he just creeped back into his crib, and nobody knows it the next morning. So I think it shows also how this archetype can get away with a lot of things. Because it's just so likable. Masculine energy within this archetype is called the warrior, which is best represented by the Greek god Ares, or the Greek god of war and courage. This one, on the other hand, Ares man is also someone that is very outgoing, but his social style is a little bit different. So when you see the messenger man being sort of detached and just sort of like he's friendly to everyone, it doesn't really seem like he has preferences, while Ares type of man, or the warrior type of man, would be much more physical, direct, and expressive in the way that he present himself. And this is interesting because in contrast, he's actually one of the rejected sons within the pantheon, meaning that in society, I guess a lot of people don't really reward men for this sort of traits.
Which I would never thought of it that way. I always thought that Ares is somebody who tend to be favored by the gods and also like people
society,
in general.
People accept it as something that's like really good. That's very manly. Apparently, he's also known as the Greek god of dance and passion. So he's actually one of the only gods within that time that had a pretty respectable relationship with women, meaning that he's somebody that does not impose his dominance on women despite seeing their differences. He sort of appreciate that polarity and that difference. And that's why one of his famous stories are his romance with the Greek goddess of love herself, Aphrodite. And these two energies sort of make up the charmer. The charmer is both an adventurer man who is always out for exploring, but he's also always have that one or two people in his life that he's deeply connected to and that he cherishes.
So yeah, like based on the lore that my sister just mentioned regarding these Greek deities, you can find out that the charmer with the blend of these two is what made up them to be this couple of traits that you might notice from them, which they can be naturally charismatic, adventurous, outgoing. They are somebody who is emotionally and socially intelligent, and that their presence always bring this kind of constant novelty. If he meets somebody or wherever he went, he will always make situation feels alive. And the example, like the three actors who you might be familiar with, like
and you might love as well,
like Matthew McConaughey, Glenn Powell, or Henry Golding. These three, I feel like whatever roles they choose to play, or how they carry themselves in press or interviews, is that they always make their story sound so compelling that you want to keep listening to them. The thing that for this kind of archetype that embodies such vivacity and enthusiasm for life, it's sometimes difficult for me to think like what kind of their shadow side might be.
It must be hard to imagine, like, okay, if he's like, what could be his weakness, what could be the things that he does that is darker, like weak, because he's like this ball of sunshine,
and so welcoming to people and experience and new experiences. And I think the first thing that comes to my mind, I think maybe, is that they can tend to be more performative, so it's more of a mask rather than it's their genuine emotion that they're showing to other people.
He sort of weaves through situations and people so easily that sometimes his loyalties are just sort of everyone's friend. He's like that perfect quote of like, if you are everyone's friends, then you're no one's friend.
Yeah, like that Taylor Swift song.
Yeah.
A friend to all is a friend to none. So yeah, so that is probably one of them that makes them also have a hard time committing to somebody when in long-term connection.
So what kind of feminine energies that would work well with this adventurous man, the charmer? And we have two options for this. The first one is the bohemian feminine archetype, which is a combination of the lover and huntress feminine energies. This is the one that our source Caitlin Mahina actually also recommend, and we can really see why. It's very natural and harmonious compatibility. The bohemian herself is also someone that greatly values her independence and is always out for adventure. She also has her own world that she's passionate about, and so it's natural to see these two sort of just immediately work together really well. They both see and experience life the same way. Also, another thing is, I think that the bohemian is somebody that is naturally just so self-possessed, and the Hermes man is not Hermes man, the charmer.
Well, yeah, they kind of are Hermes man.
The messenger side of the of the charmer is very strong. So it means that he's somebody that's probably used to making everyone fall in love with him in just one conversation. But the huntress within the bohemian is able to give him a bit of the challenge that I think he needs to fall in love.
Yeah.
But the second compatibility that we also like as much as the bohemian with the charmer, and that is the ingenue, which is the combination of the lover plus the maiden feminine energy. And why we love this combination is because I think not only that they both would be able to explore the world together, but they will also be teaching each other what the other is lacking. Meaning that if you can sort of see the ingenue's like biggest strength is her ability to see the world in wonder, and the messenger is able to give her that ticket, sort of like the passport to go and see the world, but she's the one that's able to slow him down just enough so that he could enjoy that experience instead of just moving from one place to another. Yeah, I think that's why we really like these two together.
I personally like this two pairing.
They're just so endearing to follow. Like if you see all of your favorite Disney princess and prince storylines, they're probably ingenue and charmer, which we'll get more into once we get to the film recommendation.
We're gonna see how the charmer is being represented in movie and television.
The tramp.
Now there's a bloke what never gets caught.
He's given the slip to every dog catcher in this burg.
You won't believe this, dearie, but no matter how tight a jam he's in, that tramp always finds some way out.
We found 4 depictions of the charmer in film. So the first one is the romantic adventure, or the classic Hollywood charmer. I think the characters that best represent this archetype is like Jack Dawson, who's played by Leonardo DiCaprio in Titanic, and Flynn Rider from the Disney animated film Tangled. So the core giveaway trait of the romantic adventure is someone who sees life that is too beautiful not to experience it. And because he has such a love for new experiences and to discover something new, they like to extend the invitation to other people. And also, if you've watched these two movies, if you notice how the respective partner that they're interacting with comes from a completely different lifestyle than what they're used to. There was this one scene in Tangled where Rapunzel decided to leave the tower, and then she starts spiraling because she worried that her mother would be disappointed at her. And
That's
to
very classic,
see,
like
yeah,
maiden energy.
yeah, again, like with back and with the ingenue
Back end
callback,
with the
yeah.
ingenue. This is like the one of the pairings that we're talking about,
Hmm.
that we're referring to.
Yeah. And so seeing like how the charmer doesn't feel overwhelmed when Rapunzel was at that state, and how he's very patient. He doesn't use that, maybe more of the warrior side where he would impose the invitation like you have to come with me. He's more like inviting her to be
Yes,
to explore with her own
definitely.
curiosity.
Of course, overprotective mother, forbidden road trip. I mean, this is serious stuff. But let me ease your conscience. This is part of growing up. A little rebellion, a little adventure, that's good, healthy even.
You think?
I know.
And I think that's what makes them so charming on screen. And
The same thing with Jack Dawson, right? Like
yeah,
the way that
with
he
Rose
able
too.
to let Rose break out of her shell is by
Yeah,
inviting her into his world
yeah,
instead of like
forcing
forcibly
it.
pushing her, which I think is really great and healthy in the stories, because the people around her, people around the female main character within the stories are always sort of the ones that are imposing rules on them or restrictions, and these two are just
Yeah.
sort of the liberator of the character.
Next one is
What we call the charismatic storyteller.
You are quite the magician.
Thank you.
The charismatic storyteller is the version of the charmer that is the most messenger led. So, meaning that this is the guy that is super funny usually, and he's somebody that is quick witted and just always love to charm people with the many stories of his endeavors, and he has so many of them. And this portrait of the charmer depiction is best expressed through the character Nick Young from Crazy Rich Asians, played by Henry Golding, and also Prince Aladdin from the Disney Aladdin movie. So if you can see from the Crazy Rich Asians movie, for example, Nick Young is somebody that grows up in a family that is very powerful and very wealthy. So that comes with certain expectations of how he should be and how he should act. But if you see throughout the movie, he always chose sort of what he values first, and he's not afraid to sort of he's not afraid to like make a fool of himself. He's not afraid to make a fool of himself in order to connect with many different other people, maybe outside of his circle. Because I think this charismatic storyteller as the charmer is the charmer that genuinely loves people and genuinely loves like being around by like so many different types of people throughout his life. So in a way, like this version is the charmer that is most connecting base, and somebody that is willing to make everybody feels comfortable more than he values his other people's perception of him, like keeping up perception. They're just so easily likable because they never impose certain, what do you call it, way of like being in order to connect with them. They're just like, be yourself.
Imagine what me proposing to you would be like. You know what? I had it all planned out. Okay, right behind you. Don't mind me.
the next one is the passionate hero, or the bronze with a big heart. These depiction of the charmer, I think, is represented by characters like Rick O'Connell, played by Brendan Fraser from the 1999 movie The Mummy, and another Disney animated movie is Robin Hood. The core giveaway trait of this depiction of the charmer, I think, is somebody who acts first then think later. So they definitely lean on more towards the warrior aspect of the archetype blend. And what I noticed as well from watching the movies is that they are somebody who is not afraid to immerse themselves fully into something if they feel like they were drawn to a certain ideal or a certain person that they want to chase after. And it's that
certain cause that they're passionate about.
They don't care about what risks will follow them when they chase that part. And I think that's what makes them also great leaders. Like in the movies, they both have people who want to listen to their instructions. They want to follow their own adventures. And I think it's because of that spirit of bravery and fighting spirit that makes it so infectious.
And again, they're using their skill of being able to connect with people from different
There's
walks
yeah.
of life, and this in a way just makes them a leader that people not only follow because of their competence, like they truly feel seen by these figures.
Will you marry me?
Oh, darling, I thought you'd never ask me. But you could have chosen a more romantic setting.
So what happened when the Charmer turns dark, and we decide to call him the Shadow Rogue, and he's best expressed through the character of Jack Sparrow from the Pirates of the Caribbean movie franchise. So imagine all of those amazing traits from the Charmer, his charisma, his good wit, his social intelligence, but with zero sense of responsibility, and you get yourself the Shadow Rogue.
That's a sad commentary in and of itself. The world used to be a bigger place. The world's still the same. It's just less in it.
We call him the Shadow Rogue because he's a rogue in all the sense that he uses all these good traits in order to manipulate people in order to get what he wants without ever considering the consequences that it entails. Doesn't care about how it affects other people around him. All he's focused on is how I can satisfy my desires and my needs as fast as I can, and with not even a single attachment. Yeah, which I feel like is Jack Sparrow's storyline throughout the franchise. We see him. I mean, he is technically a pirate. That's his career to go around and perform to be somebody else. Really good at master of disguises is also a big thing for the Charmer. He can again, like when I mentioned, we allude to this early on about how Hermes has a tendency to be a bit of a trickster. So I think that the dark side of the Charmer man is a classic trickster. He's also the guy that you probably see as like a swindler, a sweet talker, all this
love bombers,
the airman.
If you're into astrology, air placement.
You know the air placement's reputation within the community.
They're so endearing on screen, but if you meet them in real person and you want to actually make a relationship,
sometimes.
Yeah.
And we talk about this as well. I think, like we said that, when we were researching about this archetype, it's actually very hard to really get his soul. We said it's like he's like this open mystery. He's so open and he's like so nice and smiley all the time. You just don't really know what he's thinking, and that's what can be terrifying if he's not aware of that power within himself.
That's everything about the Charmer. So I hope that you find this video informative and really fun to get to know too, because you get to learn more about your favorite characters maybe, or the people around you. So per tradition, we are going to pick out our next archetype that we're going to talk about in this video through this envelope as usual.
Our magic archetype envelope.
Yeah. So last time it was me. Do you want to do it now?
Please.
I'm so curious.
We are actually hoping for the feminine energies. So.
Yeah, we hope that since our last video.
In our last video. Honestly, I'm done with the men. We want the ladies. I'm gonna take this one. What is the next archetype we are discussing? We have the vampire.
We finally get the femme.
The vam, yeah.
Oh, the femme.
The vampire or the vam. It's actually called the vam, but it's okay. Vampire as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yay! So it's a feminine archetype.
Huntress.
It's Huntress plus Mystic.
Oh, Huntress plus Mystic.
Huntress
yeah.
plus
Okay, yeah, we finally
so
got a
family new as well.
Yeah.
We've been mentioning the Huntress like multiple times, I think. So it's really good that we finally get an archetype about the Huntress. We can go deep dive into it.
That is everything about this video, guys. Again, thank you so much for watching until the end.
If you want to see the first part in the series and you're new, and if you're watching and you're like, okay, where's the other one? We'll link the first one, where we talk about the provider archetype, masculine archetype, and we'll link it somewhere in the description box for you to find.
Bye guys.
Thank you. From Aladdin.
Yeah, another GIF over here. I'll put it
the man in my dreams.
Yeah.